Liverpool Football Club advanced their talks with the representation of Saul Niguez in an attempt to close the £40 million signing of the Spanish midfielder. Around 3 weeks ago, they were heavily linked with a move to Saul Niguez, having agreed in principle a fee with Atletico Madrid. That fee is for around £40 million, and the reports out of Spain this morning have suggested that as and when this bid is made, it will be accepted. This isn't necessarily new news. But at the same time, Liverpool took a little bit of a back step and didn't progress the deal further with Saul Niguez, who 2 weeks ago looked set to join Barcelona in a swap deal for Antoine Griezmann. That news came out thick and fast, but has since been rather debunked and was massively misleading. That deal was never, ever as close as Atletico Madrid would have you believe. They want to move the player on. Saul Niguez is looking for a new club. It remains to be seen how progressive these talks, these advanced talks with the representation will be. Liverpool are still trying to drive the base salary of the player down to get him onto more of a rewards-based, incentive-based salary with a lower base cost and guaranteed cost to Liverpool Football Club. We're going to delve into that in more detail and give you the chance to phone up and have your say. We're also going to talk in Chiesa. Liverpool for the last 2 days linked with big moves for Chiesa, the likes of Grizz Khan, and a number of fairly muted reports from the Liverpool fan base that this deal might go through. Big update on that from Fabrizio Romano to bring to you. Plus the latest on Jules Koundé. We're going to take your questions. We're going to take your calls. We're going to get a big fan quiz out as well. But do me a big, big favor this morning on the terrace. Hit that like button right now. And I'm not moving on until I see it at least past 100 likes while we're live. But on this show, we've got to get past, at least 800 today. Big breaking news for Liverpool here. And big breaking news for everybody else involved in the Saul Niguez deal, because Barca are definitely interested. Man United are looking at the player as well. We know that Thomas Tuchel wants a central midfield player. They have had conversations with the representation as well. But I want your thoughts. I want your feelings. This is the Done Deal Show. Here we go. Good morning and welcome back to the terrace. I hope you're all doing very, very well indeed. Lots to talk about, lots to speak about in relation to Liverpool this morning, what's going on with them, Chiesa, Saul Niguez, and lots of differences of opinions across social media. I know already that there are some outlets that have already pushed down, Liverpool's pursuit of players. But remember, the Liverpool press are always very hush-hush. The Liverpool press only 2 days ago told us that it's unlikely they're going to sign anybody else. The briefing that Dean Jones got is that they're unlikely to sign anybody else. The interesting thing is, Liverpool fans believe the Liverpool press when it comes to transfer deals until they get bantered by rival fans, and then they say, we're working on things quietly in the background. So what is it? Are you trusting the press or are you not trusting the Liverpool press when it comes to the transfer updates? Now, when it comes to, I know there were reports yesterday from the likes, or early hours of the morning from the likes of AS talking about Liverpool will submit a £50 million bid for Saul Niguez. Now, what's really interesting is that isn't the element here that's important to look at. That isn't the element here that's important to look at. Liverpool, at this moment in time, they're not upon the edge of submitting a bid for Saul Niguez. That is simply what they're not. That is not what they're looking to do at this particular moment in time. Those reports of a bid, that isn't where they're at. They know how much Atletico Madrid want for the player, and it's within the ballpark for Liverpool Football Club. Those 30 to 40 million pound signings have all been achievable this summer for Liverpool Football Club. There's no doubt about that. Said Walid told us that a good few months ago now on the terrace, and it's something that I believe in. This is Liverpool Football Club going back again to the representation of Saul Niguez and discussing the possibility of bringing him in. it was very obvious to the majority of us out there that the reason Liverpool didn't push forward with their pursuit of Saul Niguez 2 or 3 weeks ago is, one, what other options are available? Is there a cheaper alternative? We have other priorities in that position. Youri Tielemans was, of course, one of these individuals. That deal is seemingly fizzled out now. So Liverpool were keeping their ear close to the ground. They were keeping the Saul Niguez plate spinning, and they've gone that back now for advanced talks to get into the finer details around the personal deals with this move. Is a bid imminent? No, that isn't being claimed by the Football Terrace this morning. Are Liverpool in pursuit? Have they advanced their talks with Saul Niguez? Absolutely. What they are trying to achieve is a lower base cost to the contracts. And this is very much in the ilk of Liverpool Football Club. This is very much in the ilk of what Liverpool like to do. He's on £230,000 to £240,000 a week circa. Liverpool would like to get him in for a deal at around about £150,000 a week maximum, with it rising up to the levels of 230, 240, with win, goal, and streak bonuses included within that contract. And of course, Champions League qualification, larger lump sums at the end. They really want to try and incentivize Saul Niguez. So what you'll see at this move this morning is you'll see Manchester United fans, for instance, panic about this. Man United, Chelsea, and Barcelona have all made inquiries into Saul Niguez. None of those deals are close either. So Manchester United are waiting to see what happens with the Paul Pogba situation. They're waiting and looking at a potential bid from PSG before acting on that deal. Barcelona have got huge financial issues. That's why it hasn't materialized, and that's why it hasn't progressed. Equally, they need to sell more players before they buy, and nobody yet has even made a genuine attempt to try and, for instance, go after Antoine Griezmann. Why would they? When you look at the salaries that he's on, he's not going to take a pay cut at this moment in time. So that's a very difficult one. And Chelsea, they want a central midfielder. Tchouameni's an option. Declan Rice is the number one target. So they're not going to jump into bed with the Saul Niguez situation straight away. This has given Liverpool the time they need. Saul Niguez wants to move away. It's a very, very clever strategy from Liverpool Football Club. They have to get it right. Doesn't mean it's going to come off and pay full dividends. But at the end of the day, what Liverpool are doing is smart. They're not just caving into the players' demand straight away. They know Atletico Madrid will accept their bid. And the longer the window goes on, the higher the likelihood that they'll be able to drive that price down a little bit further. We don't have the £40 million that we agreed to in principle. We can do a 30, 32, 33 million pound bid. Of course, that will be spread over a 4 to 5 year period. So the initial cost for Liverpool on transfer fee is going to be very, very low indeed. So it's excellent business. There is no doubt about that whatsoever from Liverpool in their approach. They've advanced these talks. Let's see how they get on with it. If they can strike a deal with the player and they can get the ongoing player costs at a reasonable level, Liverpool Football Club could get that bid in. The issue that you have is that with the amount of money Saul Niguez wants to be paid over a 5 year period plus the transfer fee, there are other options that Liverpool deems more desirable, say Youri Tielemans, that would be of a similar cost. What is excellent here is you could potentially pick up a Saul Niguez on a deal that you're only paying him that huge salary per year if you're winning Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues and all sorts that come along with it. And therefore, you're earning the riches to cover the cost of paying for the Genie one out and replacement. So at this point, are Liverpool at a point where they're going to be submitting a bid? Not imminently. Is a fee agreed? Yes. It is, as in the fee is already agreed with Atletico. Bid will be accepted, but the bid in itself isn't due to come in anytime soon. They have to get the personal terms agreed first. Liverpool Football Club are not going to make a mistake by submitting a bid for a player when the player isn't guaranteed to say yes to them and join. We've seen this all summer. It's become even more prevalent this year than in years gone by. Clubs tend to do the ground before an official bid goes in. The clubs do the groundwork with the players. That isn't ready as of yet when it comes to this situation with Liverpool Football Club. I want your thoughts and feelings on that now. Happy birthday, Aaron. Happy birthday to you, my friend. Hope you're well. Long-time viewer of the Terrace. Morning, Maria. Morning, Mohammed. Hope you're well. Morning, Billy T. Any update on United's midfield? Nothing new from yesterday, mate. Nothing new from yesterday. United are reviewing the situation with Paul Pogba before progressing anything else further. Of course, they're looking at Ruben Neves. Ruben Neves wants to join Manchester United. There's no doubt about it at all. Sorry, wants to join Wolves. He'd like to join Manchester United. There is, of course, the Saul Niguez links, which are true, which are genuine, which are real. But Man United have got to do a bit of work around the Pogba situation before they can progress that any further. Massive thank you here to Mr. David for becoming and rejoining as a legend and super fan of the Football Terrace. A massive thank you very much, my friend, for doing that. I'm going to put the first poll out of the day, though, here. And I didn't put it out before we went live. I'm going to put it out now. I'm going to put it in capitals because I've got cap lock on. Will Saul Niguez join LFC this summer? Yes or no question for you this morning. I am going to share the link very, very soon for you to come on and for you to have your say on the terrace today. That's always important for us to hear from our viewers, hear from our subscribers, and all that jazz. We had the first super chat of the day as well here from the Bill from ABC TV. He says, Terry, I forwarded the Football Terrace. Sorry, Terry, I forwarded the Football Terrace my suggestions of British League Cup. 92 English clubs and 42 FPFL clubs. Would you like to see a British League Cup? Yeah, why not? Like, why not? I think we should do what we can. At the end of the day, we're separate in football, Scotland and England, but we're together as a nation. You know, we're part of the United Kingdom. We're part of, we're all British. So why not support the FAs in that way and bring some things together? Rangers and Celtic games especially will be really, really, really explosive. I do need to update what I tweeted earlier, actually, because I want to make sure that I'm not misleading people, because I've read my own tweet and I want to put something else in here just as a kind of star caveat, like I've just said to yourselves. Liverpool's bid is not ready yet, as they want to agree personal terms. I'm just updating that because sometimes I can write a tweet and then when I say what I've got to say out loud, I'm like, oh, maybe my tweet doesn't quite say that. And I'm one of these people where I don't like to put stuff out there that is misleading or people may not get or people may misinterpret, because that isn't really my style or my way. Let's have a little look here. Terry, who do you think will be the most dangerous team in the league next season? Honestly, I cannot look past City and Chelsea at this moment in time. You just can't look past them at being the most dangerous. Man United might have something to say. I think writing Liverpool off altogether is mad. Do I think if they don't sign anybody, Liverpool, do I think they'll win the Prem? No. Do I think we should write them off because of that and there won't be a challenge, they won't be difficult next season? I think that would be absolutely crazy. I'm low-key gassed, so little bit of good news. Yeah, it is positive news. And I understand a few people in the comments saying, Terry, the LFC transfer room have dismissed the Sal things. Well, I think LFC transfer room, because I follow their account, great people there, they've dismissed the story saying that a bid is sort of imminent, which I read. That's what they have dismissed. That isn't really what we're talking about today. We're talking about the advancement of a conversation on personal terms. The bid won't happen. The bid won't come. The bid isn't imminent. The bid isn't ready. Whatever phrase you want to use in the modern day football transfer language, they're not going to bid until Saul Niguez agrees. Liverpool Football Club will never put themselves into a position to be rejected by a player formally. They're never going to. Chelsea won't do that. No one's doing it anymore. The official bids are very rare. You're going to see this with the Haaland situation. An official bid is never going to be publicly accepted as happened unless it's accepted and Haaland agrees. Clubs are no longer good. When you play computer games, you send in bids, right? And you get them accepted or rejected. Sometimes you put the contract offer into a player on Football Manager and it gets accepted or rejected. Real life football no longer works in that way. It's all done in reverse. Well, Liverpool did a slight different thing here where they spoke to the club first of all, but that's because Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, they are trying to actively sell the player. So it's a much easier thing to do to okay, well, what's the fee going to be? Okay, we can work on that. And by the way, I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool do all this work now with Saul Niguez, get an agreement with Saul Niguez, and then go back to Atletico Madrid and drive the price down further. Like I've said, that would be a very Liverpool thing to do. And why not? Because then you've got Ati tasting the sale that they need to get done and thinking, oh, you know what, if Liverpool pull out now, we get nothing. And like the old saying goes, I'd rather lose a frupney bit than a fiver. Ginger Fury here says, morning. Terry, I think it means Terry, how are you? This is Getty, but Terry, how are you? Will the Football Terrace start a football team up to play the United stand and that? That's something we could potentially do. It isn't anything I've got the time for at this moment to do. But watch this space. We've got a lot of other big things we're working on. That's where our focus kind of is. But who knows what the future holds? That may be something we can bring in later on down the line. Mr. David here says, Terry, it's nice to see us getting Koundé. Any updates on Haaland? I've got a Haaland update. I might be bringing a Haaland update later on today. It could be a little bit later on in the week. I was actually talking to Simon Phillips this morning privately about that situation as well. We're having a conversation via text. That wasn't a phone call, just via text. We're both sort of giving each other our thoughts on it. I've got a few people to speak to today in relation to that. It might be on the Done Deal show tomorrow morning. I just need to wait for the information to come through. You don't always get responses straight away. But I did have a response from arguably the most credible transfer journalist in the world yesterday about Koundé and Koundé to Chelsea. It's imminently going to be announced as a total agreement. It is imminently going to be announced as a done deal. My take on the conversation that I had last night was we're pretty much already there. The news is just being staggered. You might see another update or two about the payment structure and the fee structure, players, swap deals, everything else. But it's practically where it needs to be to get over the line. Koundé, at this moment in time, is 99.9% a Chelsea football player. That for me is just almost it's about as close to being a cast iron guarantee. One sec. A cast iron guarantee as you can get to. There we go. Let's do some more of your comments here before we open up the lines. Morning, Terry. It seems to me this summer more than any other, there's a lot of guesswork going on in regards to Liverpool. It doesn't seem like anyone really knows what they are doing. Your thoughts? I think guesswork is really disrespectful to the hard work that the transfer experts and the specialists put in. It isn't guesswork as such. All transfers to a degree have an element of guessing and knowledge within them. What normally happens? What's most likely to happen at these points? Even the Liverpool tier ones are kept in the dark to a certain degree. Jurgen Klopp and Michael Edwards are not phoning up James Pearce after every conversation between clubs and giving full updates. They give briefings, and Liverpool Football Club give briefings to a number of journalists. The briefings are very sparse, and then it's down to those journalists to expand on that. Some journalists take an approach of purely reporting on what they hear and then playing everything down. They've told us that nothing's imminent right now. That could mean no signings this summer, as an example. Other journalists will say, they've told us there's nothing imminent right now, but through conversations with journalists and from abroad and agents from the UK and abroad, they're actually working on these 2 or 3 deals. So I would hazard a guess that. I prefer a journalist who tells you what they've been told and gives you an opinion. The problem we have now with modern day football fans is we're very, very protective of our football clubs. So if the opinion element or the factual piece of information doesn't suit the agenda we want pushed, we look for holes. We had it with Dean Jones yesterday, the Arsenal fans coming for him for his Pepe comment. Dean Jones was 100% accurate with his Pepe prediction at the time he made the Pepe prediction. Because at that point, Arsenal didn't have the budget for it, but the club expanded its budget later on down the line. A month later, they expanded the budget. It's not really Dean Jones's fault. So I wouldn't call it just pure guesswork. It's people. It's about people that have been involved in the game, that talk to people on a regular basis and have certain levels of information. The irony in it is one of the closest journalists to Liverpool at the moment in Carl Markham has said it's unlikely no more signings are going to come in. Is that guesswork or is that what he's been briefed? Who knows right now? I think sometimes we've got to understand that I just like a journalist who gives me an opinion based on what they're hearing, because they're being that for me is truth. That for me is honesty. That for me is them expressing what they think and feel. We've got to this point now where we're actually damaging the news for ourselves, because we're getting to this point where everything's within another 2 or 3 years from the top journalists, it's all going to be prescribed. It's going to be the same update on every player, depending on what stage it's at. It will be talks have just begun. Nothing imminent right now. It could happen. It's not a guarantee. They're just going to answer like robots because social media gives them so much abuse. If it's like, You spoke about 40 transfers this summer, and 2 of them didn't happen like you said. Therefore, you're a fraud, and then they get abuse. It's disgusting. We're gonna ruin news for ourselves. We're literally gonna, like when you're naughty as a kid, and then your dad takes the PlayStation away, and it's like, well, you did it to yourselves. It's your fault. We're gonna do this to ourselves as football fans. That's what we're gonna do. We really, really are, and I see it coming. Alex here says Dean Jones have been absolutely brilliant so far, probably better than Fabs in my opinion. And that's an opinion thing. Fabrizio Romano is very well connected, especially across Europe. When it comes to European deals, he's always on the money in terms of speed on them, especially from Italy. And that brings us actually on to the Chiesa conversation. So Chiesa is a non-starter. I know this is the irony in it. The same Liverpool fans that attacked me for asking the question or sharing the quote from from Carl Markham are telling people last night that there is truth in the Chiesa situation, or at the very least, it could happen. For me, unless there is a huge changing in the mindset of Chiesa and Juve at the exact same time, or there is a financial collapse from Juve and they can no longer afford the obligation to buy, and no other top club in Italy can come in for Chiesa, if all them things happen, then maybe, just maybe, there's a chance for Liverpool. I would say now there's less than a 1% chance. It's almost an extinct opportunity of a transfer for Liverpool. He's a brilliant player. Cannot see it happening for love nor money. Fabrizio's actual words on this last night were Liverpool have not made an official bid. You notice how they put official in? Because they haven't made an official bid. Maybe they've inquired, but not made an official bid for Chiesa. That now protects Liverpool fans. You didn't get him. Didn't even make an official bid. You see how it works because we've become too sensitive and too baby-like. It's our safe space now, right? There's nothing going on and no chance to sign him this summer. Liverpool board know about Juve's stance. Chiesa is considered untouchable. Bayern Munich are also aware of this decision as well. It is a non-starter. Anyone else who pushes it, you've got to remember, you'll get different Liverpool accounts have different views on this Saul Niguez news. The bid isn't imminent. I'm not saying the bid is. I'm talking about conversation with the reps. Some will say, we haven't even spoke to the reps. Why are they saying that? They want to protect Liverpool in case a deal doesn't get done. But it's 100% happening. How do we know this? Peter O'Rourke will give us an update, I'm sure, tomorrow. He knows the representation, speaks to them, has conversations with them. It is what it is. Sasko here says, Chelsea and Roman are willing to spend big, but Marina is so stubborn about price and she wants to bring every price down or walk away from deals. Her job is to protect Roman from overspending. Her job is to protect Roman and Chelsea Football Club when it comes to these types of transfers. It's imperative that you let the financial experts, because you might be a billionaire, Roman, doesn't make him a financial expert, doesn't make him an accounting genius. I don't think he'll have an understanding, but I doubt that he's doing the forensic mathematics that's needed to ensure that these huge money deals that Chelsea are looking at are sustainable over a 4 to 5 year period and will protect always against FFP if it remains. That's Marina and her job and her team's job to protect Roman from himself to a certain degree. So I wouldn't be blaming or hating on her for that. It's imperative that she does it. Same at all clubs. Neil here says, morning, Terry. Saul Niguez to sign for Liverpool. And one more player, that being an attacker like Saar or Traore. I mean, that could be, Saar's an interesting one that's gone very, very quiet if you think about it. Like, no one's talking about it in any way or any shape or any form. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how that transpires in the coming weeks. I'm very, very intrigued by that indeed. I truly, truly am. 1 second here. 1 sec. Sorry, peeps. I just need to check something. A lot of people are quoting me on socials about the AS. Sometimes in life, I do have a real bugbear with people. It's like, why don't you just watch the stream and listen to what's said? And listen to what's said before you comment. That's the one thing I'd say about Twitter that bothers me, is like the amount of times I'll share like a stream that I'm doing and people are like, no, this ain't happening, this is happening. It's like, listen to what I said. Terry, you really believe this story? It's like, nah, bro, why don't you just listen to the stream, listen to what I've got to say on the matter before, like in terms of my opinion, and then you can comment on what I think and feel. Like, people are mad. Like, and this is what I mean. This is why it's very hard for journalists nowadays. I'm not a journalist, but this is why it's very, very hard for journalists in their industry, because they'll share a headline, and before they're even given an opportunity to talk about it, like, people are jumping on them like a dog in heat. It's a madness. Let's have a little look here. Now, we're going to share the link for you to phone up and for you to have your say. We're going to share the link now in the live comment sections for you to phone up and have your say on the football terrace this morning. I'll pin the link also to the, I'll also pin the link, if I can, it moves too quickly. I'm going to pin the link as well to the live comment section as well. I'd love to hear from you all this morning on what you've got to say. Terry, hi Terry, Liverpool fan from Spain. Most of the news about Liverpool transfers are all false. If Liverpool really need a player, they will go out for it without making much of a noise. Yeah, I understand on that. I understand on that. But as we spoke to you about before, the Liverpool press don't make a noise. The foreign press agents, they're not as loyal to the football club as the local tier ones. Terry protects his journo friends. He ain't straight up. Well, it's not about protecting them. It's about being honest and open about things. But there we go. It's that's down to you if you want to look at it as protecting them. I'm just trying to, like, you'll see how this develops on the football terrace over the course of the next 12 months, and why I'm so. I watch Sky and I'm like, they'll be talking about the transfer news and there'll be a fan on there, there'll be an ex-pro on there, and there'll be a presenter on there. And I'm thinking, well, where's the expert? Where's the education? I love hearing the fan opinion. I love hearing the perspective of an ex-pro. But where is the expert? Where is the transfer expert? Where is the agent? Where's the, to a degree, where's the a retired or a current football director or CEO of a club that can give us the insight into what and the whys and the how things happen? Fan opinion is amazing. It's what my channel is built upon. But for me as a fan, what I want is education, 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 education. People are scared of education if they're taught something they don't like. The amount of times I've told people net spend isn't real and they can't get their heads around it because they want to be able to use it at particular times in arguments. It's just one of my things there. But there we go. Let's have a little look here. Football is spoiled by transfer jealousy talk. It's all ridiculous. Man City fans, we get who we get and we'll be happy. You are also right about that. Like, depending on who's linked to who, people want to believe it. So it's like, I get this with Dean as an example. So someone here, literally, I just read a comment. It's the same thing. It says, Terry, Dean Jones will end up regretting a lot of what he has reported about Arsenal. But he won't, though. He won't, though, because he won't regret it, because he's sharing the information with you that he's been told and then giving you an opinion. It's like you, Smith. If we all had that mantra, none of us could give an opinion on the internet, on socials, because all of us have given an opinion on transfers, on match results, on golden boot winners, on this player's going to be good, this player's going to be bad. And we all get it wrong at times. We all say, was told this, but I think that. This is what's being said. And a lot of people say things like, what's Dean Jones got right on the channel? First journalist over the course of the summer, 2nd of July, to talk about Ollie's new deal coming in pre-season, as an example. There's a lot of reports this morning from trusted Man United sources that Camavinga would prefer a move to Spain over coming to England. Dean Jones told us that weeks ago, as an example. In terms of him being the guy that tweets out transfer imminent, that isn't what Dean Jones does. That isn't the type of transfer expert and journalist that he is. That isn't what he goes for. I've told him he should do that. He's not interested in it. He talks about things that are and aren't going on. From an Arsenal fan point of view, Smith, Dean Jones was the first journalist that spoke about you having a budget between 150 to potentially 200 million pounds. When he said that, there was Arsenal fans aplenty quoting his tweets and pushing that news out. When we don't like journalists is when they give us opinions or facts that we don't like. Some have more credit in the bank. Like when Ornstein spoke about James Maddison last week, it was taken as it was it's David Ornstein, so I believe him, but we'll park it. A journalist that you don't have as much love for says it as a see, told you he's a fraud. And by the way, things could change tomorrow. Things could change tomorrow, and the world changes. Because Dean and Pete and many others were very skeptical about whether Varane would come. And do you know why they were skeptical? Because Man United were updating them saying they were skeptical. Read the actual story about Man United's transfer for Real Madrid. They openly state that they didn't think they would even be able to get this deal. It came out of nowhere. They were skeptical. They were treading on eggshells. So when you're a journalist and you're being briefed that, you don't just come out and say, look, Man United are worried. I'm not. 100% happening. Transfers are never that clear cut until they're right at the final stage. So it's like this situation with Saul Niguez. Advanced conversations. Liverpool know what the bid would be and it would be accepted, but it doesn't mean it's going to move forward. Liverpool have got to get the right valuation for the player, is in salary. They might try and drive that price down. They're spinning a few other plates and players they're looking at in the likes of Basuma and Yuri Tillemans, and they're waiting for those situations to become a little bit clearer in terms of what they're doing. You add all these things together, and it doesn't make it clear cut. If a journalist comes out today and says 100%, Saul Niguez, here we go, he's going to be at Liverpool at this point, he's taken a punt. He isn't giving you accurate information. Accurate information isn't always being unyielding, unequivocal in your approach, saying this deal is very close. It would take a shock for it not to happen. That is misleading. This is going on. This is what Arsenal have said. This is what other people in the industry have said. This is what I think. What do you think? That is amazing for me, transfer news. When you actually watch Fabrizio talk in longer form, that's how he talks as well. But then people just look at the snippet and the headline, and I think that's important. So I just wanted to clarify on that, because it's not about Dean, by the way. This is all journalists. It's why none of the tier ones are talking about the Haaland situation. They're not putting their name to that. I'm telling you what they're going to do. If a bid gets accepted, they'll say it's been worked on all summer and was always coming. If a bid gets rejected, they'll tell you that it never came in. Their base is it's become like politics. Their base is too important to them. Ginger Fury here says, with Pogba looking like he's going for 45 million, then maybe Lingard for 25 million. Do you go for two midfielders or do you get Ndidi? I actually think you might. Do you know what? Having got Donny van der Beek at the club still, I would go for Ndidi. That's what I would do. That's what I would do right now. We're going to go to some of your calls this morning. Smith here says, Dean Jones is a journalist, not a fan. He's meant to give us information he knows, not fact. He knows for fact, not what he thinks will happen. Journalists have always been and will always give opinion. That's not what a journalist's job is to do both. Especially when you're having a conversation. If you read articles, they're fact-based. But he's on a podcast and I'm asking for his opinion. Smith, slow down. Bro, journalists shouldn't give opinions. Why? They're not humans. Oh, wow, my brother, you're a madman. You're a madman, my guy. That's one of the best. That is legitimately one of the best tweets, comments you've ever made. Oh, brother. He shouldn't give opinions. Fabrizio gives opinions every day. Oh, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Some people legitimately, bruv. Some people legitimately make my... What's the word I'm looking for? You make me happy. It's like you're so angry that you were given an update that wasn't positive about your club, but you want the facts. It's what he's been. You do realize that Dean Jones's opinion is based on what industry insiders, agents, football clubs, chairman, other tier one. It's what they're telling him. He formulates an opinion based on what he's told. When he's told by numerous people that this deal isn't going forward for these reasons. Like yesterday when he spoke about Maddison, he was talking about the player might be looking at it as a step backwards. He hasn't heard great stories. You think James Maddison isn't doing his research onto whether or not he wants to join? That's what Dean's been told. Doesn't mean in the end, James, because he also said Arsenal are still working on the deal. And by next week, Maddison might go, do you know what? I'm going to take a punt on this and go. And you'll see his opinion change based on the facts changing. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Let's go to some of our first calls of the day. First up on the show today, we're going to get Mohammed's here. We're here with us now. Big Liverpool fan. What you saying, mate?
Hello, Terry. Yeah, I think for once in God knows how long, we're getting some good news from a Liverpool point of view. So hopefully in the next couple weeks, we can get this deal done. But my only fear about this deal is the wage, because obviously Liverpool will have a certain wage structure which only allows us to sign players on a certain amount of wage budget. So I don't know how they're gonna sort that out. So that's the only stumbling block in my opinion. But yeah, it's looking good for the time being for Liverpool.
Well, I think how you're working on that stumbling block, Mohammed, is very much focusing on trying to get the base of the salary down to a more affordable amount with incentives, which is very much the Liverpool model. It's what your base salary depends on what website you get your player salaries from. But I've gone to 3, and the average is about 126, 127 a year. But of course, as you saw 2 seasons ago, well, 1 season ago, the 2019-20 campaign, you paid out over £300 million in salary. Why? Because of all the bonuses. You know, the game win bonuses, the score bonuses, the Premier League winning bonuses. That's what they're going to try and convince Saul Niguez to do. It's a case of, take 150 a week, but it could raise to 250 if we win all these things. Once you average it out, it's whether or not they can. These are the advanced talks that they're going through. If they can get Saul Niguez to agree, I wouldn't be surprised to see a bid go in. But of course, the Liverpool press are going to play down any of this because, and this is why Liverpool fans have got to wake up here. Man United fans have got to wake up here. If Man United couldn't come to a deal with Real Madrid, would have walked away from Varane and said, we were never confident the player was coming anyway. Why? Because they briefed that the whole summer, right? That was what they briefed all summer. Liverpool will brief into their journalists, and a lot of their listen, and I'm not having a pop at any of them. It's about looking after your base. Right now, the AS thing says you're about. So a lot of people sent me the link. I've just been reading it while I've been talking to yourselves briefly, saying that there's imminent bids expected. Of course, Liverpool are paying that down. Liverpool are not going to allow any news to come out that says things are official, things are moving along with speed. I wouldn't be surprised if people start talking about what I'm saying. Nah, that's all nonsense. Of course, they're going to say it's nonsense. But then in 3 days' time, if you sign Saul Niguez, none of them come back and say, actually, we were talking to him for 3 or 4 weeks. They'll act like it was all done at speed in 2 or 3 days, which is bollocks, which is pure bollocks. At the end of the day, it's like people act like Liverpool are working on nothing. And by the way, Liverpool are not, all that's happening now, Liverpool were the trendsetters with the PR, with the prop. You're now just seeing all clubs move down that line. Fans have just got to wake up. If you listen to all the tier ones towards their respective clubs, no one's doing anything. Yeah, people are making signings. They just think of take it away from your club and your emotions and bring it down to the nth degree. It's actually really funny. Like the only team that are seemingly doing anything are Arsenal. And then we're all laughing at them. This is the irony. Because they're not landing all the players they're going after and who will be made public. What are we all doing? Everyone's laughing at them. So clubs want to keep it hush-hush. Fans want to keep it hush-hush. It's madness, bro. Listen, great call, though, mate. Thanks for coming on, having your say. Mate. Take care. Thank you. Thank you very, very much indeed. Let's do some more of your comments here. Opinion should be separated from facts. The issue, they don't tell us all the details involved, like how it really happens. Well, you will have an opportunity. We're on the show to ask those questions. You can get you can ask those questions and we can pose it. We've obviously had lots of experts on here before explain how transfers work, the speed, the approach, the fact that the structures. That all happens here on the Football Terrace, my friend. That all happens. And also you've got to remember that journalists generally are not given detailed accounts of what's going on. They're given up. I'll give you Andy Minton as an example the other day. He was told by Man United that this is what he was told. This was the information that he was given. Madness, but this is the information. Jadon Sancho will not get the number 7 shirt. It will be 2 numbers that add up to 7. So, of course, there's an element of opinion that then has to go into his report. because they didn't tell him what 2 numbers, but they just said 2 numbers that add up. He went with 1 and 6, so he went with 16 because it's available. In fact, it was 25. I would have probably gone for 25 if I got that information. I'd have looked at what numbers were available and probably thought about Antonio Valencia played there in the 25 share. I would have put 2 and 2 together and got and guessed 4. But then it could have been 16 and I would look stupid. Because 18 was what I was about to say, isn't that the number that Youngie had on the wing? But no, he had 18. But the point is, he wasn't wrong per se, but everyone's just so hell-bent on it. That's the point there. Nick Toller is on the show next. He's a Chelsea fan. Give me your thoughts on the Saul Niguez news, first of all, please, mate. Do you think Liverpool will pull this off?
I'm not sure. They're quite, stingy in that regard. So they're not trigger happy. They wait for their moment to pounce, and it depends if the contract terms suit them or not. And I'm not sure, is Saul still linked with Barcelona with the Griezmann swap deal? I'm not sure how that's progressing. That could play an important factor in it.
It hasn't progressed because of what so far, because of what Griezmann wants to be paid. So it's almost, I'm not saying it's dead, but there's just no movement on it at all.
Yeah, so it's still in the water. But I think it's a viable option. But yet again, it's on the player, I think, on the player's ends, right? Whether he wants to come to Liverpool and accept their wages and terms, because, they're not going to pay over the odds for Saul in terms of salary and transfer fees. So it's from him really if he wants to, but it'll be interesting to see him go there because he's a top player. We've all known his quality for Atletico Madrid. He's just come off the win of the La Liga. Maybe he wants a new challenge, and I think Liverpool could be an option for him, but it's now on the club's end for them to pull that trigger.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously yourselves are linked with Koundé. Give me your thought.
I'm really happy. Finally, we have some concrete news about something. That's something we've lacked over the past 2-3 weeks. It's just been all speculation, rumors here, there. Koundé, he's a top player coming in from Sevilla. Now, I think it's going to be a swap deal. Am I right? Plus cash, something around that.
They're what they're talking. We'll get a further update later on today on exactly what that looks like. Swap deals are very hard, but that's one option. Yes.
Yeah, because I think we want to offload Zuma or Emerson or someone along the lines of that, and maybe it can go plus cash, and I'm down for it. Look, I think he'll be a great addition to our backline. Contract situation regarding Rudiger's bit, iffy whether he signs or not again. Thiago Silva's gone at the end of the season, so he's a centre back for the long term, and of course we got Christensen coming too off the back of his excellent Denmark's performance in the Euros and his Champions League wins. So it's going to be really interesting for us next season, and whether he can adapt to the Premier League, because he is a bit short too, I know it's not the be-all and end-all for all centre-backs, but it's whether he can also adjust to the physical game of England. So I'm really excited for it and looking forward to
it. Yeah, listen, I think he's going to be a very, very
astute centre-back. I genuinely think he can be.
I think it's a tremendous signing. And, of course, there's that added extra bit of loveliness to it because he rejected talks with Tottenham.
Spurs, yeah, like a William 2.0 Spurs.
That always helps sell you to a new fan base when it's like, he turned us down.
We welcome him with open arms. We welcome you with open arms. Come to us, not Tottenham. We're the real. London is blue. We all know that, and I think he knows that. That's why he's coming to us instead of Tottenham.
Yeah, there we go. Listen, Nick, great call, mate. Thanks for coming on. Having your say. Thank you very, very much indeed. And Smith is here. And Smith has just listen. Smith's an interesting guy because he gave me a lot of stick for a lot of years. He's been kind of nice recently, and he's back to being salty again today. But we've got to the root cause of the problem with Smith. Terry, the way Dean speaks about United makes me wonder if he's a Man United. There we go. He doesn't speak about my club as nicely as I think he speaks about somebody else's club. Why isn't he as nice about Arsenal as he is Man United? That's all it is, isn't it? Which is why I said to a few people recently, some of the generic tier ones, look how nice they are to all clubs. It's crazy. What do you want? Honesty? See, people don't want honesty. What they want is, tell me what I want to hear. Tell me what I want to hear in the way that I want to hear it, and I'm not going to believe you. Oh, Smith. Dry your eyes, mate. I know it's hard to take, but her mind has been made up. There's plenty more fish in the sea. Dry your eyes, mate.
Again, I'm not digging out Tottenham, Maria. I'm just giving you a fact. 110%. 110%. 110%. Next on the show, we're going to Gary. Gary, welcome to the Terrace. What do you want to say, my friend?
Hey, Terry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Gary, what do you want to say, buddy?
Yeah, I'm a Man United fan, but I wanted to talk about Liverpool.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, look, the Saul transfer, I hope it happens. I really hope it happens for Liverpool's sake, because I'm surrounded by Liverpool supporters in my family, and half of my family, they're almost depressed, and the other half, they don't care. It's like they've buried their heads in the sand, and they think that if they don't see it or hear about it, nothing's going to happen. It's not going to affect them. I find it surprising.
Yeah, look,
But
Liverpool are just very good at doing business. They're very good at doing business. They know how to drive things down. They're very relaxed. They have a certain type of target of player they go for. They don't wane from that. They'd rather wait a year longer to sign the player or two they want than just switch. They more often than not get the price of players that they want. It just takes a little bit longer. People have this, Man United fans especially, developed this unhealthy obsession with how fast everybody else got deals done compared to us. We did the maths on the Football Terrace, and we looked at the marquee signing each summer over the last 7 years. It was 7 years because of from when Fergie left when we did it. For the marquee signing, the first signings we made of the summer and the marquee signing, Liverpool were better than Man United, but by an average of 4 days. So there is an absolute falsehood that Liverpool get all their business done quick and sharp and over the line before anybody else, or any club for that matter. You actually start to break it down and look at the mathematical facts behind what's being spoken about. It was all BS and bullshit. Again, it was like a fan theory. And this is what I mean by education. These are the types of things that Sky Sports and BT Sports should be bringing to us, but they don't. They feed into the hyperbolic nonsense every single day. Mark Love's bad at transfers. Like all the Chelsea fans phoning the show for weeks. We're terrible. We're terrible. This is what you did with your big deals last year. Barring, by the way, Timo Werner, that was easier to get done because of the buyout clause. This is what you did with your big deals last year. But the difference was you were signing a lot of easier deals before it that were distracting you from the... If you were only going after... If Chelsea were only going after Kai Havertz last year as their main signing, it would have felt like it dragged. But because they had those 72,000 signings that came in before him, they were relaxed. And that's the point I'm making here. Like, people just need to research your facts. You see a tweet that makes you go, yeah, that's true. Why don't you go and research that and see whether that tweet is even true first? If you're having a banter, you don't need to check if it's factual. Banter is banter. It's when people start believing. That's why I like Rant so much. Rant says things for banter and jokes. Literally, he's called Rants and Bants. He literally has a tagline on his YouTube page somewhere like, it's all bants, relax. And he says something as a joke and people are like, yeah, facts. No. He's called Rants and Bants. He's having, sometimes he speaks facts, but sometimes he'll make a joke. And Rance has a very dry way of saying things. And then people are like, oh my God. It's like, imagine going to watch a comedian going, a fucking comedian just told all them political jokes. He should run the country. It's a joke. It's a joke, bro. Like, the way people can't see through jokes is mad these days. But anyway, I digress. Gary, thank you for calling in and having your say. Thank you. It's true. Hang on. Terry, how does Dean Jones go from saying we will have, may have, not will, a £200 million window, but still say, I don't think the deal will happen? Just because you predict a club could spend 100 million, 150 to 200 million, doesn't mean every player they're linked with you're going to get. You've already spent about 90. Ramsdale looks like it's dying now. You're looking at another keeper, say 15. That's 105. Tammy will take you to 145. You're going to sign probably a midfielder that's going to be in the region of between 20 and 40. You're suddenly now at what are you at now, bruv? You're now at like 160, 170s. He said it could go as high as 200 million, but listen to what he said. 150 million was almost like what would definitely be reached. You're already at 90, bruv. you're already like what, 60 odd percent. Why are you talking your feelings? Feelings. Whoa, feelings. Whoa, feelings. Smitty's in his feelings. Oh, Smitty. Mad respect for you, bruv. Calling a spade a spade. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. I say this to football fans. Don't cry about PR. Like, Man United fans are the worst. We're all terrible. We're all terrible. It's like, I ain't believing that PR. I ain't believing that PR from Fabrizio. Yeah, bruv. Like the fucking Varane signed because of Oli, bruv. That's cap. Yeah, nah, that ain't right. That ain't fucking prop, bruv. Prop. Fabrizio just said Man United are keeping Pogba. Oh my God, Fabrizio's right. He knows everything. Oh my God, he's the guy. He's the man. Oh my God, he's always right. What do you know? 1 minute he's a PR fucking merchant. The next minute he's God. No, it's you. You're the problem. So I only want to believe what I want to believe. Oh, that's all it comes down to. Fuck my... Just honestly, bruv, it's a madness. It's a madness. If you think a journalist is credible, great. But I know if Dino comes on, right, on Tuesday week and says, I heard this and this Arsenal deal is close, it looks amazing, they've done great business on it, you'll all be like, oh, Dean, oh, you will. I know you will. I just know you will. It'd be like that, Dean, let me gobble you off, mate. I'll cup your balls as well. Do you know what I mean? And then the shirt signing at the same time. Smitty, calm yourself down. It's just madness, bruv. I see it every day on socials. What you talking about, bruv? You talking about? That ain't true. I saw a guy last night. There was a report that came out that Pogba is only turning down Man United's offers because he wants his money. He only wants the money. And I saw all these Pogba stands with one report says it's about money and everyone's on Pogba's back. This has never been said before. So I shared the link, a comment from the Muppeteers, and the Muppeteers said, we had Fabrizio Romano on the show a while back saying that it's all about money for Pogba, this net contract. He's going to go for the biggest offer possible. Right? They all started deleting their tweets. I'm like, oh shit, there's more than one report. It's like, see, you just put down that journalist because he's not looked at as a tier one. Like, do your research. But anyway, it's just, it is what it is. Smith is going to be smitten by Dean Jones. It's very true. It's very true indeed. It's very, very true indeed. We're going to do some more calls here. But listen, I'm enjoying the conversation. Make sure you're smashing the like button. But there we go. Kai's on the show next. Big Chelsea fan in the house. What you saying, bro?
Yo, Terry. Good morning. How are you?
How you doing? Are you good?
I'm good. I'm at work break, so
lovely.
What
you here to say, my friend?
The Kunde signing came out of nowhere. I'm actually relatively happy with it. You know, as long as it doesn't come by itself. You know, if it comes with a striker, I'm happy with it. If it comes by itself, then I'm less pleased with it. But yeah, he's a really, really good center back, and I'm happy with him. I want to see what he does in the Premier League since his size isn't the best, but he is a pretty decent player. Like, he's a really good player, good on the ball, two-footed, and he reads the game really well. So he would be perfect for a three at the back kind of system. But if we don't get the striker, then basically we move nowhere. As good as Koundé is as a player, Chelsea needs a striker. And with all the way that Fabrizio is talking and the way that Jan is talking, it seems Chelsea are not really convinced with Haaland. I hope I'm wrong. It could be just me being pessimistic, but Chelsea need that one striker. It's either Lukaku or Haaland. I would have either of them, but I'm a bit worried here, if I'm honest, man.
Next week's going to be a very pivotal and interesting week for yourselves and sort of the pursuit of the player. I'm really, really intrigued to see what happens. What would be very interesting for me as a neutral from a fan point of view is to see Tammy leave first, because then it's like they have to bring someone in, even if it's cover for Timo. That they have to sign someone. So yeah, I'm really intrigued now to see kind of what happens in this space in relation to the striker situation. On Kunde, yeah, I think he's very, very good indeed. I want to ask you this question because you're a no crap taking kind of guy. What do you make of the approach that we now see with the kind of the PR element behind transfer news? Like, fans don't want to hear opinion. Fans like hearing almost very watered down, almost like one sentence answers around transfer, like deal on, deal off, deal advanced, deal over. Like, what do you take? What's your take on that approach now, where you barely get updates from because they're so fearful of being attacked by the bang mob?
You know what's funny though, Terry? It's not only about like we actually had like a team meeting about it where I work as well. It's just like in marketing in general nowadays, people like the attention span is so low that people don't want to read like the whole, like, you know, like usually if you look at newspaper nowadays, it's like you can get basically the majority of the article from the title because people don't want to really waste too much time getting to know the information. It's the same thing with football and transfers and stuff. People just want to know, like, did it happen, did it not? And it's kind of sad though, to be honest, because people don't really want to learn; they just want to know, which is a big issue in society in general. It's not only football. And football is even worse because for me, if I come to watch football to escape marketing, you know, since it's what I do for a living. So it's kind of ruined it for me, and it's sad to see that football is becoming the same way.
Yeah, listen, I hear you, bro. I look at it very much from the point of view of like when I kind of look at these deals, I sort of view it and think to myself, I sort of sit there sometimes, and it's sometimes a little bit painful to listen to, where you're like, "Oh, Terry, like no bid's gone in," and then I look at it and I'm like, "Oh, but they made an offer. No, no official bid." It's like, okay, there's no official bid, but does it need to be an official bid? Like you're legitimately interested, you're legitimately looking, you're legitimately like pushing forward for it, like you're making inroads. No, definitely didn't do it, you know. And I'm just sort of like, but I'm not bothered about my club being rejected. It just doesn't bother me because all our clubs get rejected every single summer by a player or two. Like, it's just the way it goes. But everybody's so desperate now for their club to look perfect. It's like, it just don't work like that for me. And it does worry me massively.
And you know what's funny though, Terry?
Go on, mate.
Especially with Chelsea fans, they just assume, like, you know, like it's basically Peter Cech, like it's like how it is in FIFA. You know, he walks into the office with his helmet on and the suit, and it's take like 3 clicks and that's it. The taxes get sorted, the fees get sorted, the papers get sorted in 2 clicks, and then that's it. The signings is done. And especially in those like big signings, it takes months, sometimes years for them to you know, to be able to like put this structure together. But it's
We lost Kai for a second there. He might be back in a minute. I'm not too sure what's going on with him there. Kai, call us back if you can, bro. Just to let you all know, we've got a brand new Telegram account that we've set up that gives you the opportunity to never miss a notification from the Football Terrace again. It is pinned to the live comment section right now. It's just been added to our description below as well. So refresh the description below. The old one was the WhatsApp one. Don't go to that. Refresh it now and take a look at that and sign up to that and get yourselves into that group chat. It'll be amazing to have you all in there. Pycroft says United with their recent signings, Chelsea, who are most likely to get Konate and maybe Rice and a striker, City buying maybe Grealish, and Liverpool getting all their injured players back. Top 4 predictions next season. If all those things happen, I'm going without Kane, because you're not including Kane at City. I'm going to go if Chelsea get Rice, striker, and Koundé, and Grealish goes to City, Chelsea, City, United, Liverpool would be my prediction based on what you have said there. That's what I would go with, my friend. That's what I would go with on that one. Did Kai watch Chelsea friendly yesterday? I'd love to ask him that. I'm sure Kai probably a bit like me in this one, wouldn't take a friendly seriously. Do you know what I mean? These fans are just transfer fans and accountants. Just because they are simulating between transfer windows on FIFA and Football Manager doesn't mean the game is like that. Enjoy the game and the 90 minutes. I hear you, bro. That's how I look at the transfer window, very much in that ilk and in that light. Let's have a look at a few more comments that are coming through here. Smash that like button, people. Absolutely make sure you get that done. No worries, mate. No worries, bro. I know the feeling on that one. Terry, your streams are biased as F, not you, but the people in it. But they're viewers, brother. And if you want to have your say, and you're a Liverpool fan, I assume by your tag, by your name. If you want to phone up and talk about somebody else's club and add a deeper element of non-bias, get that done, my friend. It's a No Echo Chambers channel. We talk about all of the top 6, including Arsenal and Leicester. The top 6 plus 1. Anyone can phone up and talk about any of these subjects at any time. I don't believe in a world where only Liverpool fans should talk Liverpool or only Man United. I think, I'll be honest with you, I think it's weak. I think it's pure weakness to do that. But thank you very much. I'd love to hear from you, my friend, for you to come on and have your say. Next on the show, we're going to go to Bradley. Bradley Lowe is going to be on the Football Terrace next. Welcome, my friend. Who do you support and what do you want to say? You're on mute, by the way, just in case you don't know. Hi, Bradley. Okay, Bradley wasn't ready to speak, so we're going to go to KSE Out. Marble Halls TV in the house. What you saying, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Yourself?
Yeah, very, very well. What you here to say, my friend?
Yeah, just 2 things. Firstly, with the Saul Niguez thing, I think it's definitely what Liverpool need, especially with Gini leaving. I heard reports Oxlade-Chamberlain could leave. Hendo's 31 and he has contract talks, I think. Naby Keita's not done it, so I think that's definitely a priority. But obviously, I'm not a Liverpool fan, but I just wonder about their general transfer business. Like, Liverpool's an elite level football club. They've been for decades. Obviously, everyone knows that. But they kind of move very kind of spendthrift. I'm wondering why, because, as I said, I'm not a Liverpool fan. I don't know the ins and outs, but like they increase the capacity at Anfield. So they should, in theory, have more match day revenue. They won the Champions League, so that should be more prize money sponsorship. They got the Nike deal. So Liverpool really lack money? Because if they do, they need to seriously question their owners, I reckon, because something doesn't add up, in my opinion. And second point, I saw that. Well, I didn't see the Arsenal show you had on with Jess and the others yesterday, but I just want to say one thing about Tammy Abraham. I do not want Tammy Abraham. Like, Tammy Abraham to me is like if you get a used Xbox game from your brethren and them. I don't want a used Xbox game. I want the real standard edition from Steam or Epic Games. Like, we should not get any more Chelsea handouts, Chelsea hand-me-downs. Yes, Tammy Abraham's not as old as David Luiz, right? Or Willian, but it's still the same thing to me. I don't even think we need a striker. Aubameyang, all right, cool. He had a poor season last season, but Lacazette, personally, I rate. Yes, he's not prolific, but I think he is good technically on the ball. Martinelli can play up front. He's young. Balogun signed on recently. He's got potential. I don't rate Nketiah, but he's at the club all the same. So for me, I think we need more midfielders. Xhaka still might leave. So I think we got Lokonga, who's young, but he needs time to develop. I think you guys probably, or you guys as in United, are probably favourites to get Neves, to be fair. You're a bigger club. You haven't got a better manager, by the way, but that's by the by. We definitely have better players. And you're definitely in the Champions League next season. So I think you're favourites for him. So yeah, that's just all I want to say on the Tammy thing. I don't want him out of principle. We shouldn't be like getting Chelsea scraps. And look, Tammy Abraham could go on to be a good player, but as of now, he's just a Chelsea scrap. I don't want the scraps.
Marble Halls TV having his say there on Tammy Abraham and on that potential move. Top man. Thank you very, very much indeed. Update here. We tweeted earlier on there was going to be a Haaland update coming out. Dortmund spoke on this matter. Dortmund have said that will Haaland stay this summer? Yes. In the discussions with the Raiola for Marlon, I did not have the feeling we would meet again about Haaland. We don't want to give him up. For me, very generic words, very predictable at this point. The fact it's being spoken about a lot in the last few days in the build up to what is meant to be the week to 10 days that the bid is meant to be expected, I'm not surprised. This comes comes down to the PR element. I want to see whether this 150 million pound bid is official or an inquiry. If it's official, it gets accepted, in my opinion. If it's an inquiry, maybe Chelsea and even us as viewers have been sold a little bit of a lie in terms of it being the acceptable level. But there we go. Kai is back with us now to finish up what he was saying. What are you saying, buddy?
Yeah, hey Terry, sorry, my Wi-Fi is not very reliable, you know. It's as reliable as Arsenal title hopes. So sorry. But yeah, man. I was saying like the way that about Haaland, I'll say something about Haaland. Just let me finish my point. I was saying like people just accept instant everything in life right now, and it's the same thing with football. They don't realize there's taxes, there's fees, there's a lot of things that they have to sort out. And about the Haaland thing, it's like I'm tired of suffering over it. You know, if we are meant to go into another season with Tammy Abraham and Timo Werner, let it be. Hopefully, Havertz could kind of salvage our season, but I don't really believe all that stuff that the PR stuff that they say. I can see right through it. If they say, oh, he's not going to leave, he's going to stay, it's basically everything in life is money. If Chelsea pays up, I believe he'll be a Chelsea player because there's no way they will reject 100 million. A club like Dortmund cannot reject 100 million profit from any source that comes to them. Even one of the shareholders or whatever who said like, we can't. I'm not sure if he's a shareholder, but he said, how can we explain to the shareholders that we rejected, like this amount of fee for a player, for an asset. So we'll see what happens with Haaland, but it's an opportunity that Chelsea needs to capitalize on, especially with our record with the strikers. We end up paying more money on 3 or 4 different strikers than we could potentially do with this deal. So
yeah,
it's up to Chelsea now.
I would really love to just see what Dortmund do if 150 million pound is put on their table. I would, if they reject it, there's an element of me that would say fair play. Like for what I may not agree with it, even on a financial standpoint, but I'll say fair play. But I just can't see him doing that, mate. I really, really can't. Kai, listen, bro, thank you very much for coming on, mate, and having your say. I really appreciate it. All of our viewers today, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you, our new subscribers, our new members, to all of our super chatters as well. Ads here says, brother was waiting 6 hours to say that just to receive no reaction. I don't know what you mean, my friend. I don't know what you mean, my friend. I don't know what you mean, Ads. I'm confused. Sorry. But listen, everyone who's tuned in, I'm very, very appreciative of it. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again